Yeah, let's talk about Earthion. What I said, it's a new game for the Mega Drive, made by a company which is already very long in the industry, called Ancient Corporation, and they are actually ancient now, I guess. It was founded in 1990 by the composer Yuzo Koshiro, and I think it's family members of him. Ayano Koshiro and Tomo Koshiro. Mr. Sparkle is nodding, so probably I guess I'm right. And they are known for Streets of Rage 2, Beyond Oasis, and Sonic the Hedgehog, the 8-bit versions, like the Game Gear and the Mega Drive versions, which I actually kind of prefer. And of course, Yuzo Koshiro is widely known for being an amazing composer for these kinds of systems. So they come back for making a Mega Drive game again, which when I first saw it, I was very excited because I really love new games on old systems. And when did you guys first see the footage of this game? Have you been following this, or is it new for you as well?
For me, I kind of really just heard about it more incidentally. I I heard about it on just maybe one or two random podcasts that I was listening to, and didn't really think much of it. And it just happened to be, well, I guess it came out just shortly before I kind of started getting into shmups a couple months ago. And once I played a few of them and realized I was liking them, I was like, well, let's check out and see what's new. And there were two things that were new. One of them was Earthion, and one of them was the Gradius collection that we talked about. So I grabbed both of those and started off with Earthion. And yeah, that was how I just, for me, it was kind of more just incidental than anything else. It wasn't something that I really had on my radar. I had heard of it, but didn't really think much of it. But then once I started actively looking for some, I remembered it and was like, oh, I'll give that a shot.
And Mr. Sparkle, for you as well, or did you follow it like me?
Yeah,
I was like following it for 2 years or something. I was like, when is this game coming out?
I think it might have been something you posted in the Discord. Actually, I think I picked it up from something you posted. I wasn't particularly following it. I wasn't aware of it, and then I saw, because there's two shmups that came out that were Mega Drive based recently. One's called ZPF, and the other one's Earthion. I think I played. There is an Earthion demo, isn't there? I'm not misremembering that. I'm sure I played it. Yeah. So. And it was just, I was just like, this looks fantastic, and it was just interesting to see. Okay, right now that we've got all of these years of knowledge and development tools and know-how, how could you absolutely max out this piece of 1988 hardware? Like like wring absolutely every last little drop of power and creativity out of it. And to be honest, I can't see how they could have gone much further with the presentation with this, because it is just stunning in places. I mean, if it had come out in like 93 or 94, we'd probably be talking about it as one of
oh my gosh,
the best looking drive game.
Would have been blown away. Yeah,
it would be a system seller, I think. Especially the 3D effects. I think the most early footage on I think it was X back then, maybe even Twitter when I saw it first. And there was like the footage of the ship coming into the screen when you start a level, and it's like a sort of 3D effect where it goes into the screen, and yeah, it looks just really amazing. It looks like a modern game, and that sold me directly. And when I heard it was Yuzo Koshiro, he makes a nice music on a lot of good games, and I love his style, so I was like immediately excited. And I couldn't wait, but eventually they released it on Steam, and then I was like, okay, maybe I have to wait for the actual Mega Drive version, but I couldn't. I ended up buying it, and I don't know when it will release on Mega Drive. I think what they said is that they want to polish this game on Steam, like a sort of playtest, before they put it on the cartridge. But we'll see. But for now, there is ways to play it on the Mega Drive as well. That's all I can say. So if you buy the Steam version, figure out how to play it on your Mega Drive with the flash card. I haven't tried it yet, but I will. It would be very fun to play on the CRT as well. But on my PC I have a nice arcade stick, so for now I'll play it on PC.
It's speaking of them polishing it, I noticed one of the things I've already noted. I'm sure there's other changes, maybe a little bit less obvious than this one, but I played this a little bit today, a little bit yesterday, just kind of refresh my memory on it and all about, and all that stuff, just to for the podcast. Mm-hmm. And one thing that they did change is the animation when you start the game and it kind of shows you first person in the cockpit. Mm-hmm. That used to be unskippable.
Oh, okay.
And now it's skippable.
I'm very happy with that change because...
Yeah, I am too. It's a really cool scene, but I don't want to have to... I mean, it's not super long, but I don't want to have to sit there and play through it every single time I play. Especially, if you're going for like a 1cc or something and you're not just using continues and you're resetting a lot, it does get old.
Mm-hmm. So, the presentation directly sold me, and especially the crazy screen effects and the parallax scrolling on every level and the diverseness of all the areas. It looked very great, and also the music and the sound effects are really nice. So it's really easy to get smitten by this game, I think, just by the looks of it. In the end, I think gameplay counts, and maybe you can talk about it. How do you think the gameplay is? Is it any good compared to other shmups? Mr. Sparkle, maybe you have any opinion on it?
I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, I've read some of the commentary around. I'm apart from the Polykill Discord, I'm in the Shmup Junkie Discord, and I've heard sort of range of opinions, but it's generally it ranges from I'm really enjoying this to it's fine. I haven't really seen anyone heard anyone say, oh, I think it's particularly bad. Some of the commentary around people saying I think it's fine has to do with a preference away from being able to tank a lot of bullets, which you can do. I mean, I don't necessarily see that as a problem, because that is the game. That is the game is you have a shield. You can see the number of bullets there are on screen, and part of it is working out what is the path of least resistance. And as the difficulty goes up, the number of paths that you have that have a resistance that you can tank through actually goes down. So I don't think that's like per se a problem. I think it's just a different kind of shooting game. I enjoyed it.
I think a lot of hardcore people prefer like the one-shot kill or something, that you can't make mistakes. I think that's the regular shmup style. And this... Some people,
yes, yeah. I mean, I think some people do prefer that, but others don't. I mean, it's a broad shooting games. There are a range of different designs. There's no one. There are certain things you can certainly do that you would rather, which is probably a different topic. But there are certain design choices that would probably most people would say we'd rather not have in any shooting game. But it's a broad. It's a broad church. Is the church of shooting game.
Okay, and so you say like the hardcore people, they think it's good, or maybe it's fine, but
well, I've got to bring him up again because I watched the video. I think I've got shares in this guy. I've actually never met him or spoke to him, but again, James has cleared this as well, and he's got a commentary on it where if you go to his channel, apart from the super plays that he does, most of his videos have really decent commentary on them. Like you'll get a couple of paragraphs of really concise, really good observations about his view of the game, what he thinks was good, what he thinks wasn't quite so good, what he enjoyed, what he didn't, and broadly along those lines. But he also talked about things that he thought were fixed in the Exa-label version, which is the arcade version that got released in Japan, which I can't remember what all the changes were, and we probably won't end up seeing it in the West, because most Exa Arcade is something that I think it's in some arcades in North America, but mainly I think its main market is Japan, where they take games, they adapt them, they put specific things in them, and they're locked to the arcade. They don't get ported. They're very very protective of that. One of the things in the game is you can hyper. So like in I'll describe this in Salamander 3, if anyone's familiar with that from the Gradius package, where you can basically overdrive your shot for a certain period of time. You get this kind of super powered shot called a hyper. That's in that as well.
Really?
There's a few other changes.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I already I read about it on Steam forums. That there was like the arcade version, and that you don't want to buy this, and you have to wait for the arcade version to release. But you say it will never release, probably.
I have absolutely no idea. All I know is that Exa label tend to be very protective of certain aspects because they want it to stay in the arcade. That's all. That's all I know about that.
You wouldn't bet on it?
No, I mean, with the version that exists as an Exa label arcade, it doesn't. I'm not aware of any Exa label ports it like badged as an Exa label port that have ended up somewhere else. It might be that certain game features find their way in. I don't know. There are better sources on this than me for sure.
But they found it good enough to make an arcade version, so I think I think that's already a compliment to the game, and maybe also the sort of hardcoreness of this game. I don't know, but actually I found this game quite on the easy side, I guess, of shmups. I first played it on easy myself, just to see the game, and then I once CC'd it directly on easy. I recently tried medium. That's the footage which is if you watch this on YouTube, you can see my footage, and then you see me fail quite a lot. So, but I think it's still doable. What's your opinion on it, Rob?
Real quick, I'd like to throw in my 2 cents on the difficulty in general that we were just talking about. First off, I would say that the presentation you talked about being so good, I think that's my favorite thing about the game, is just how awesome it looks and sounds. I found myself, so I played it when, like a month or so ago, whenever I told you I got it, and I really liked it. When I played it again yesterday, having beaten the game, I found myself a little bit less enthusiastic about it. We were talking about specifically the kind of the bullet tankiness. I started to get a little bit frustrated with that, and I'm definitely not a purist who thinks that all shmups have to be one-hit kills. Like UN Squadron, I love, for example, and that has the system in UN Squadron is actually similar to this one, but I felt like in this one you take so many hits that, as Mr. Sparkle was kind of saying, sometimes you're basically expected to take hits, and for me that was like a little bit too much. Like in UN Squadron, you have health, but it's still reasonable to but at any given time, even when it gets very difficult, you can kind of say, okay, if I play this just right, it's not out of the question that I'll get through this or that section without getting hit. It's just kind of like, if you do get hit, here's a second or third or fourth chance. On this one, I felt it was more like, oh yeah, on this part you're just going to get blasted and you're going to have to deal with it. Which again, the game is designed around that, so it's not really inherently a problem. But for me, I just didn't like that as much. Because I like, I like to, I like it when I think I like it a little bit more when I'm expected to dodge stuff, and maybe I have a little bit of leeway if I fail that. But I didn't really like the parts where it's like, yeah, you're just gonna take damage here, especially some of the mini bosses, or maybe even some of like the kind of just stronger enemies. They'll get like really close to you and just like shoot a burst of bullets that like you just have to not even be anywhere near them. It's not even a matter of dodging them. It's just like, all right, you just have to get out of the way for a minute, or maybe they're not even that far, but they go so fast that you don't have a chance to really kind of take in the information and figure out the best path to, like, the best kind of lane, so to speak, to dodge everything. That was a little bit frustrating to me. Again, that's kind of more of a personal thing. I don't think it's a flaw, so to speak.
I think it's possible to beat this game without getting hit, though. It's not.
I'm sure it is, but I think it's a huge ask compared to. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. What do y'all think? I feel like it's a big ask, even compared to kind of more difficult games. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think about that?
The Jameis Hotshot play, which is the hardest difficulty that he ran through. The last thing he put in the comments was something like, "It's ridiculous. I took 100 hits in this run," which is just like, like that just doesn't happen in a lot of games. So that was one observation.
Okay, so
okay, interesting.
But maybe he did because he could, or because if he challenges himself to not get hit, maybe he could as well. But maybe because of this game has, well, maybe not the hardest modes, but I think, well, especially on easy, I think you can, if you know the patterns, I think you can dodge everything. So
possibly, maybe one day someone will do a no hit, and maybe that's what some hardcore players are going to go for, is going for those no hit. It won't be a no death run. It will be a no hit run that they're going for. But one of the things that it brings up is there's sort of generic features of shmup game design that, and often multiple ones exist in the same game, but they emphasize them at different points, or they emphasize them to different degrees. So one of them is just what you might call honest dodging. So honest dodging is, okay, I can see the thing coming. I have got a chance, even if it's really difficult, of actually dodging this thing if I can see it. So it's an execution thing. The other one is, it's a memo game. It's like, okay, you've got to know this thing's coming. This is the classic, like, Toa Plan games are like this. Irem games, R-Type is like this. It's kind of, there's a series of gotcha traps where unless you know it's coming, you're not going to dodge it. You have to know it's coming and then execute it. And then one of the others is resource management. So I would say the thing that Earthion emphasizes above everything else is it's a resource management game. So it's about managing your shield in conditions where you're under a lot of pressure and finding gaps for it to recharge. So it is about dodging, but also finding gaps for it to recharge and finding the path of least resistance through those areas. And also making sure you're making use of something the game doesn't directly explain to you, which is the upgrade pods that you get from killing special enemies before you go into a adaptation pod. Before you go into a boss, because that will allow you to upgrade your shield and your shots to give you one more bar, and it's a completely different game if you don't get those.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about those things, because when you start off, you have like 2 shield bars, and you can level up your shot as well, your standard shot as well, by picking up gems, and also you can level it up twice, just as much as your shield. If you get hit, then one of those shield bars gets away, and it recharges slowly. as far as I know, you don't have to do anything for it. I think also when you get hit, your regular shot gets downgraded. I'm not sure about it, but yeah, there's also
I think that's how it goes. Yeah.
yeah, and additionally you have like 2 slots where you can have a special sub weapon. These you can pick up in the levels. I think there's like 10 of them or something. Quite a lot. I haven't found some of these either. There's like a laser, a missile, something is called detonator. I think that's like sort of bomb. A fire cannon. Something like a spread shot. V-fire. So you have like a V type of shot. And some more. So you can carry 2 of these special weapons. And also these can be upgraded by picking up these gems. If you pick up gems, these sub-weapons get stronger, or they shoot more, or more rapidly, I think. Depends on the weapon. And in the end of the level, sometimes some enemies drop this upgrade capsule or adaptation pod. If you can swap one of your sub weapons for that adaptation pod, so you lose one of your sub weapons because the adaptation pod doesn't do anything as far as I know. But when you defeat the boss with the adaptation pod in your in one of your sub weapon slots, then you get a sort of shop kind of thing. Andy would love this, my co-host, because he loves shops in games. Yeah, you can in that shop you can upgrade the amount of sub weapons, so you can upgrade from 2 to 3. You can upgrade your weapon max level. So yeah, that's I think that's your normal shot. You can upgrade one, and also then you upgrade one shield. So then you can be hit once more. You can also choose for an extra life or a random sub weapon, I guess. I never choose that. Was there more? I don't know anymore. But
there was one I feel like that I'm forgetting. But did you already say you can unlock another spot for your sub weapon? You said that one, right?
Yes. Maybe you can also upgrade your sub weapon power or something. You can also, I don't know. Anyway, what did you pick? I always pick this extra shield. I don't know if you all agree.
Yeah, that one comes with an upgrade to your regular shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you can also upgrade your sub weapon max level.
Yeah, that's right. That's the other one.
Yeah.
That's right. So, I don't know about you guys, but I was the same way. Like for me, I always picked. I mean, it seemed like an obvious choice to always pick more shields, stronger basic shot. Except for like if I was low on lives, then maybe I would grab a life like once in a run.
Yeah, for me that was a no-brainer. But you can upgrade your shield only 5 times, as far as I know. So then after that, then you can maybe pick something else. But I don't know. I think that's the way to play this game. I don't know if that's also what Jamers did. Do you know, Mr. Sparkle?
I had a quick look at the run and didn't watch the whole thing. I read the commentary, so I don't know. I didn't see the whole thing. From most of what I've seen, certainly what I did is stack shield, and then after that stack lives. The only thing that I wondered is sometimes there's a logic to this, and sometimes it's just redundancies in the game. So some shooting games, particularly older 16-bit ones, you've got some weapons that are just objectively worse than others. There's not really much of a use case for them above others. You stick on one or 2 for most of the game. In other cases, it might be something to do with whether you're playing for survival or playing for score. So what I don't know, and this is an open question, is whether or not, let's say you've beaten the game a few times, you've got it routed out, and you're playing for score, whether, though emphasizing weapon upgrades, will give you scoring opportunities that you wouldn't get if you went the survival route. So that might be one option. And I do wonder, I know there have been changes to, well, I seem to remember from what I read that the Exalabel version, they changed certain aspects of the scoring. Obviously, it's going into arcade, so scoring is going to be a bigger thing, that's particularly in Japan. So I don't know whether that featured into it or not, but it might have done. It might give you different options.
I think the scoring system, they have like a scoreboard. I think there's like an international scoreboard, I think, in this game, or not. If you play the Steam version, can you share your high score?
I think so.
I think there is. I think so.
So I think they wanted to do a solid score system, but I don't know if it's in there, of course. I can hardly survive medium difficulty though, so I'm not there yet, but yeah, there's probably ways to get higher scores, I don't know. What kind of weapons did you guys prefer?
I am this okay. So before I answer this, I have a broader question for both of you. Oops, dropped my pen. In games like this, do you prefer a stronger, focused weapon, if you have a choice, or a spread?
I gravitate
all things considered. Just yes, obviously some will have like more circumstantial benefits than the other, but just in general, what do you like better?
I gravitated to the laser, so the focus weapon more, because yeah, it plows through like the stronger enemies, and I think I like there's like your regular shot can deal with the small popcorn enemies. I think that's fine. I don't know if that's the way, because when I played more with the V-Fire, so that's like the more spready shot, I think I did better. But I gravitate to the strong laser more, but I don't know if that's the way. The best choice is to have both, and then switch around.
Which is needed, yeah.
When there's a lot of small enemies in the screen and change, but honestly I wasn't that focused yet on these kind of tactics. There's also I for example also just press the button for both. You can if you hold down, I think the Y button is standard on the Nintendo controller, then you shoot both at the same time, your normal weapon and your sub weapon. But if you also have separate buttons for these if you want. So if you
I always remapped that to like a more natural button just to shoot both all the time. I changed it to X for me.
For example, if you use the I think that was the hyper missile, that sub weapon shoots very slowly. So if you have that on the combined shot, then you miss very often. You actually want to fire it at the right time.
I just kept that one because I figured my timing was going to be bad anyways. So like the more times I shot it, I figured I was just going to play the numbers game, and the more often it would hit. So even there is one, I forgot which one it is, but it like puts a little reticle in front of you, and you have to hold down the sub weapon button, and it like moves away, and then you let go, and it shoots wherever the reticle is.
I don't know how that works. So you have to use that separate
you have to use a separate button for that one. So that's the only one where that one I didn't like anyway, so I always just switched away from that one. But my favorite, I still want to hear what Mr. Sparkle likes in general, but just to answer your question, I think my favorite was the prism laser. I did like the pyro. I like the pyro cannon a lot because especially, I think it's like the 4th or 5th boss, you can burn him down in like 7 seconds with that. That one seems to be just the straight up like strongest one, but you just, it has very short range is the problem with that one. But Wedo, I also had the same experience where even though I liked the prism laser best, sometimes I found myself doing a little bit better using the V-Fire. Because I'm also the same way. I prefer a focused weapon, just like take everybody, take fewer guys out but faster. And then kind of like just go up and down the screen like waving around the prism laser or whatever it is. So that's also kind of my preferred play style. But I did have that experience where sometimes I would have the V-Fire and I would just be doing better with it. But yeah, I want to hear, Mr. Sparkle, in general, what do you prefer and which one did you like in this game?
So I'd say my main shot was always going to be V-Fire because of the coverage, but also because when you get V-Fire, you get two options, so two little pods either side of your craft that are doing the wide shot. So you've still got your main shot coming out of the main ship, and then these two little pods above and below that are firing at sort of angles up and down. But what you can do with those, especially when you're in the cabin stages, is you can basically clean enemies off the top, off the roof, essentially, by just sort of positioning. If the option makes contact, you can put the option sprite over the top.
Oh, really?
And just point blank it.
Ah, okay. So it's not like R-type
because
that your
that
capsule...
isn't going to take damage. Your hitboxes. This is probably one point to drop in. I guess one thing is if you're playing any shooting game and you don't want to do too much research into it, you just want to jump in, especially with the stuff, with the access we have now, just Google the name of the game and just Google hitbox and just work out where the hitbox on the ship is for different games, because it will make such a difference to how you play it. Older games, the hitboxes are much bigger. Sometimes it's the entirety of the ship. Sometimes it's the main fuselage. Modern, particularly bullet hell games, sometimes it's just a 2 pixel by 2 pixel bit of the cockpit or something like that. But you've often got, even with the larger sprites in the older games, you've often got slightly more freedom than you think you have to move around in sort of grey shots. But going back to your question about the V-Fire, when you get into those stages, especially where it starts to do the Gradius thing, where it tries to sneak these little things in behind you to snipe you from the back, you can move the option back to take those out as well. A lot of what the enemies will try and do is, because they're shooting directly at you, if you were using the prism laser, it throws you off of alignment with them, so you can't actually hit them. The thing you've got with the V-Fire, it takes longer to kill, but it gives you more options to move around and still be chipping away at some damage. There's one sub boss that you get I think it's before you hit the lava boss. Can't remember which level it is, but basically the sub boss, or the special enemy that holds the adaptation pod, is like this kind of spinning top thing, and its weak point is like a band in the middle. But the way that it shoots at you forces you out of alignment with the thing you've got to hit. But if you're in V-Fire, you just go top left and just dodge from there, and it just keeps hitting the weak point. So what V-Fire does is it gives you a lot of options, especially and also in the later stages where you do that, where you go and you're basically tracing the outline of that big ship. Where you start off with the engines and you've got to dodge, the engines are firing, you've got to dodge them. Those big cannons that are going to fire off at you when you get below that, you can just go below them and stick one of the options over the top of that sprite, and it will just point blank that thing until it dies. So even though those little mini pods are actually quite weak, because you're point blanking with them, they actually kill it quite quickly.
Nice advanced tactics. So the problem for me though is also what you say is like there's bosses which create a sort of coverage for themselves, so you can't shoot them, which is sometimes very annoying, and sometimes it also takes very long to kill a boss because of it. Because of the shield mechanic, you can take hits a lot, and then sometimes you can just wait it out during a boss so it can refill again, that shield. just by dodging. And sometimes it took me so long to beat a boss because I knew its pattern. I could most of the time dodge all their attacks, and every time when my shield was low, I just took a spot where it could refill again and then shoot again with my pea shooter, because I think if you lose shield too much, you also lose your sub weapons. I don't know exactly how that mechanic works, but if you get hit a lot, then at one point you lose it. I don't know how it works. Do you know?
I think could be wrong. I think it is based on the level. I think every time you take damage, the level of that weapon goes down. Or if you like lose a full shield or whatever, and then when it goes to 0, then you lose it entirely.
So I think like the weapons have their own health bar or something strange like that.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So you've got your main shot, and you've got your whatever additional shot. So it's sub weapon. Sorry, thank you. And they all. I think they all have. They're all vulnerable to damage. So that's what the green gems are doing, is powering is powering it back up. So that's the kind of gameplay loop that encourages that. It's a game that could encourage you to be quite passive because of the shield recharge mechanic, but it's quite nice that because the weapon goes down as well, you've also got to be a bit more offensive to generate more gems to get your power back up, so you can't just sit back. So there's a play of offense and defense there.
Yeah, I think this game suffers a little bit of Gradius syndrome because of it. Because if you play it passively and get hit a lot and then refill your shield again, then you just start losing your weapons eventually. And if you start some levels without a sub-weapon, it sometimes gets really hard. And also, you also lose that adaptation pod, so you also don't go to that store anymore to get your shield upgrades or weapon upgrades. So eventually, if you get to stage 5, for example, and then don't have sub-weapons and also don't have a lot of upgrades, I think the game gets too hard to get any further. So that's the part which has a little bit of the Gradius syndrome, that you have like a sort of run where you can't win anymore or barely can win anymore because of you're losing all this stuff. But yeah, I think the game's still fair. I don't know what you guys think about that. If it's Gradius can be very harsh. I think you guys have more experience with Gradius. I think if you lose your sub-weapon in Gradius, most of the time you can better reset and play the game again. This game has this a little, but yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I felt I maybe a little bit. I didn't find it all that bad as far as that goes. Most of the time, I found that I could survive long enough to get if I lost all of my sub weapons, I could survive long enough to come across a new one. And they throw so many of those green gems at you that it's fairly easy to keep refilling your health to like get to that threshold of, okay, here's a new sub weapon. I finally got one, and now I'm kind of good to go. I think you kind of mentioned this. For me, the biggest kind of like run killer was missing an adaptation pod. That was the biggest. That's the biggest problem. Or not missing one per se, but getting one and then dying with it and losing it. That's the biggest problem for me.
Yeah, Mr. Sparkle, you have an opinion. I know you didn't play. How much did you play this game?
It was about 4.5. No, it was about 4.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Even more than me, then.
I wanted to on normal. It took me about 4.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
But same as Rob, it's you lose the adaptation pods, and it's kind of I know what you mean by Gradius syndrome, but it's faster or slower, kind of. I don't know what you might call it, like accumulated injury, if you like. It stacks up, and there becomes a point of no return where you've made too many mistakes, or you've taken too much damage, or you've missed too many things, and it becomes a little bit too hard. What it doesn't do is, like, I mean, it doesn't do this, like, the kind of strict Gradius syndrome thing of like, you die, okay, we're going to respawn you here, where there is literally no chance of you. But there are parts of Gradius where it's possible-ish to survive if you're really, really lucky. And I think I might be wrong, but it's been the arcade version of Gradius 3. I think there are 1 or 2 checkpoints where, under certain conditions, it is literally impossible to recover. I seem to remember hearing that somewhere, but it definitely in a hallmark of that series is, well, apart from Gradius 5, where they changed it because Treasure developed that one. It's very harsh sometimes in where it respawns you and with what level of resource. So it's not quite that bad, but I take your point about there's a kind of, it's not one hit and you're dead, but there's an accelerating slope towards death. If that makes sense. It's going wrong really quickly now. Oh, now I'm dead.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my problem, I think, in my runs, that I was like, okay, now I'm missing too much stuff, and I was like in a level, there's one level which starts with a sort of vertical segment where at the right there's a lot of enemies in sort of like cavern places, and also your upgrades are in there, and it's really hard to shoot those enemies without a special weapon, and also very hard to pick up those upgrades in there, and then if you have nothing there, then it's just really hard to get somewhere in that level. So I think that was the end for me for my run when I tried medium difficulty. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about stage. We're already getting over time, as promised. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the different levels, because for me it was interesting that every level was quite different, or quite a lot of variation, which I loved. Like the first one is just a regular space level where you just don't have to dodge environments. But eventually you get in caves and like a sort of alien style level, which is more like Salamander, where you have to shoot away a lot of debris. There's like a level where you have to destroy a huge spaceship, so you have to just fly around it and shoot parts from the spaceship. Yeah, quite a lot of variety, and yeah, that was for me very nice. Did you have any favorites, Rob? Maybe
you want me to go? Honestly, so I think they did a great job at making all the levels like very unique from one another, and they all look good too. I think my favorite level is the first level. There's so many kind of theatrics going on in that level. You know, you've got the part where there's that one kind of larger enemy and you can't do any damage to him, and then like some kind of capital ship or something like that that's obviously on your side comes up and like takes him out for you, and then that you've got that kind of robot thing that just rips straight through the capital ship right after that, and it all starts tearing up, and then parts of the ship start flying to the foreground and you have to dodge those. That blew me away. I mean, could you imagine playing that in like the early 90s or something? That would have like I wouldn't have been able to recover because it was just so cool.
And that guy is also the boss of the level, I think. The one which rips the ship apart.
Oh, I didn't even. Yeah. I think you're right. I didn't even kind of put that together.
I think that's the mid boss because he fires the claw.
That's right.
And you put it on the top left to dodge him.
That's right, and you're still dodging like ship parts or something like that. Like they're coming from the side of the screen, not the background at that point. Or maybe it's something else. But yeah, you're having to dodge like some metal stuff while that hand is like shooting at you and all. But like I just thought that was so cool. I really feel like they just kind of went all out on the first level, and the other levels are really good too. But that was my favorite one. I did like the kind of underground sort of organic level where it's mostly like purple and green. And there's all those like weird worms and bugs and stuff flying at you. Like that was a cool level too. But my favorite, I would have to say, is the first level.
Yeah, there's a lot of theatrical stuff in this game. A lot of these little scenes where eventually your ship gets destroyed and you get a new one or something. You get somewhere you get a sort of like an upgrade where you can get faster, and then you shoot through the next level very fast. Stuff like that. There's a lot of little storytelling in this game, which is a nice flourish, especially for a Mega Drive game. Any favorite moments or favorite levels, Mr. Sparkle?
Just about the ship change, I thought that there's like little nods to kind of different genre conventions or previous games, and the switch between the red and the blue ship. Yeah, of course we got to have a red and a blue ship because every shooting game ever has had a red on P1 and a blue on P2, or whichever way around it is. So I mean, I probably would have said what Rob said about. I mean, the opening is just fantastic, and as you said at the start, the little 3D rotation thing is
oh yeah.
These little tricks are just kind of they've gone out of their way to show you that we really have thrown the kitchen sink at this game, and you're going to get as much as we can juice out of this hardware. The lava mid boss, the one that
was a cool one.
And the I'm just going to go with the color, because there was a review. I think it was a Sega Lord X review that he mentioned something about color cycling. Now I might have interpreted this wrong, but I know the Mega Drive / Genesis color palette is limited. So what I'm guessing that means is that they've done some fantastic trickery of making you think there's more colors on screen than there actually are, because they're cycling them so well and so quickly. Because one of the things I got was, I mean, the prism laser and everything else going on around. So this is really colorful for a Genesis game. Just probably they've just done really well at moving things so quickly you don't realize they're not all on screen at the same time. Just stuff like that. It just, fantastic. And the music on the last boss, where it just kind of it goes into like a very strong nod to the Thunder Force 4 / Lightning Force Metal Squad theme. That's kind of sort of thrash metal-y sort of final boss theme was really good.
I personally loved that very big space station you have to take down by flying sort of around it. So you have to first kill off the thrusters, and then you go under it, and there's a lot of turrets shooting at you, and then you circle around it. It felt like a R-Type mission to me. There's a lot of, like, in R-Type there's always a mission like that, as far as I know, and I really love that part. Very varied. Any things you didn't like? Is there something you didn't like in this game, as far as gameplay or stages, Rob?
I think my own grievances are pretty minor. Pretty much just what I mentioned earlier. I don't mind there being like a health bar aspect to the game, but I felt too tanky or too kind of spongy. I wish, for me personally, I wish that was balanced a little bit more in the direction of I've got to do more dodging and I have less health, but maybe there's fewer bullets or something like that. There were times, I guess there are a couple other things. As I mentioned, there are, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that almost, but there are times where somebody will shoot something at you so fast that there's not even a chance to dodge it if you're not just already out of the way. I don't love that. And there are a few times where, and I think I may have seen this on your notes somewhere, where it is, generally they did a good job with this, but there are a few times where it's hard to see something that's going to hurt you.
Especially, usually, for example, the first boss, in the game. There's a lot of sort of rotating ships around.
Yeah,
or
and you
something.
think those are going to hit you.
Yeah, but they do not do nothing. So sort of like a
Right.
satellites.
That
Or
was
something.
that was kind of distracting. Usually, I found that it was often missiles specifically, like not just the regular bullets. Those were always usually pretty flashy and easy to see. Sometimes there were missiles that would kind of blend in with the background. And there's also, tell me if you guys, I have a feeling you both fell into this trap. I think it's maybe the 6th level or the 5th. I think it's the 6th, where there's like moving, like ceilings and stuff that kind of close in on each other, and you have to dodge them. But like some of them are clearly part of the background, but like they still hit you. Like if you run into them, did you guys like encounter that all? There was this one part in particular where like it really felt like this is part of the background, because it was like something about just the depth of view of it. But like there was one part of it that looks like the foreground, and if you're paying close enough attention, you would say, okay, I guess I probably need to dodge that. But like it really seems like it's supposed to be in the background, and I just almost every time I played this game, on my first pass through that section, I would lose a life just from crashing into it, not even realizing it was not in the background.
I had that problem with there's like sort of doors which open and close, like a sort of rotation, and when they close, they shoot out a sort of gas or something, or like a steam, and that steam hitboxes, these are really unclear where these hitboxes of this steam is. I always got hit by the steam if you're on the wrong side of these doors. I don't know how that works. I think you just have to be at the good side of the door and don't get hit by the steam. I don't know how that works, but that was a little bit silly. Yeah, for me that was also a problem. The differentiating. I can't taste. Anyway. The background elements, sometimes you don't know if it will hit you or not. That was the that was the thing I and also, yeah, now you say it, there's like some bosses which shoot lasers very quickly. It's really hard to dodge those, but yeah, maybe I have to learn more. Maybe just have to get good. Mr. Sparkle, do you have any annoyances with this game?
I mean, nothing really annoyed me. I mean, the background thing, I mean, for me, the one that I had was the descending stage, the one where you go down through the sort of rocky curves. The whole left-hand side of the screen, the first time I played it, I thought, oh my God, this is a huge difficulty spike. I've got about 2 inches that I can move in, until I realised that everything on the left was in the background.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't have to dodge it. But I mean, I think this is a common thing with TG16 Mega Drive Genesis games. A lot of 16-bit stuff. You do get, you'll find that a lot of people find this in Super Less when you get around to this. There's a stage, I can't remember which number it is, but there's like radio tower kind of scaffolding that looks like it's in the foreground. So it's like, oh, I've got to dodge that. You can actually fly right over the top of it, and you can. Actually, it's not a problem anyway because you don't take impact. You don't take impact damage from the scenery in Super Lest, I believe. I really hope I haven't got that one wrong. I don't think you have. I cleared it last week. I should remember this. I don't know. I don't think you do. But sorry, to your point on Earthion. No, I mean, are there things like? I guess what I'd say is there are 100 different things they could have done differently, but it's not just about pleasing. This isn't a game about pleasing a shmup crowd. It's not just like, okay, we're going to put a Steam game out. It's going to be you like cave style bullet hell games. Okay, we're going to put a novice mode in it to onboard people who want to get into the genre, but we're making a cave style arcade bullet hell. So we've got an audience. We know who we're going for. This has to appeal to a range of people. It has to appeal to shooting game fans. It has to appeal to shooting game fans in Japan, which is a whole other standard they've got to get over. It's also got to be of interest to the large number of people who are collectors, who are just general enthusiasts for this era of gaming and want to see stuff in that style continue, and are willing to put money down on original hardware, even if shooting games aren't their thing. So they've got a very broad range of people that they need to offer something to, and I think they've done a really good job of it. I'd say it's 5-star. It's a 4-star shooting game with 5-star presentation, but zooming out into the context of they've just made a Genesis game in 2025. I mean,
You're lagging. We can't hear you anymore.
Lost you.
they've done a real.
While we're waiting for him to come back, I'll say that I think that's the best way to sum it up. 4-star game with 5-star presentation, but the fact that it runs on a Sega Genesis is borderline mind blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, one little thing, maybe, I think that the game is too long.
You know what? That is a good point. I played it when I was playing it this morning. I was more aware of the time, and it's like 45 minutes for a complete run through. Is that about right?
Yeah, maybe up until maybe 50 minutes, I think.
50 even? Yeah, that's pretty long. That is pretty long. Yeah, you're right.
And I was like, when I started over, I was like, okay, I don't have time for this anymore. So I think shmups. I think a lot of shmups get criticized that they're too short by the general audience. That this game I can just beat it in 30 minutes, and then it was 60 euros, and they complain about how short it is. So maybe that's why this one is a little longer, or they just wanted to put everything in there what they wanted. But for me, yeah, I think I prefer them a little shorter. I think like 40 minutes, maybe 35 minutes would be the best. Yeah, but it's just a minor nitpick. I think a lot of people just love that it's long. But I don't have maybe that long of focus to play well. I don't know what normal shmup's length is. I think 30 minutes or something, right?
For me personally, I say 15 to 30 is a good sweet spot. Mr. Sparkle, you tell us kind of the more general consensus on that.
Well, it depends on the game design, because I mean it's also intensity. I mean, if you're playing like a cave style bullet hell, the sheer number of bullets on screen and the amount of work your brain's got to do to work the patterns out means they tend to be shorter, just because you're getting cognitively fatigued. I mean, if by about 45 minutes I'm starting to flag, by an hour I can't see certain patterns I could see at the start. That might not necessarily be the same with, say, Super Aleste or something like that, or slower games where they're no less difficult, but the emphasis is on memorization and repeating the patterns of sort of an R-type game or something like that. So I don't think for the breadth of the genre you can say there's an ideal length, but there are certainly examples of games that for their design are probably longer than we might want them to be.
It's not that I didn't enjoy the game being that long, but I think for multiple playthroughs it will get annoying, the length. So it's just a minor nitpick. And also I didn't see any practice mode. I don't know if I just missed it, or is it
a big criticism. I've missed that. I've seen this a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That there's no stage select. The password system's there, but there's no automatic stage select. I think the one even for a classic game in 2025, I mean, even original 16-bit games, a lot of them, I mean, not even just shooters, I think the Shinobi games had this. The harder games, there's a level select there, even if you have to get to it through a cheat code, because you need to be able to practice some of this stuff. make your shooting game hard, but making it so that you have to go 30 minutes just to get one try at the thing that's really hard is obnoxious, and that's one thing that does put a lot of people off when it comes, which is why save states are there's virtually no one that certainly that I know that plays shmups to clear that doesn't use save states. There is absolutely no way I would be into this genre if I wasn't able to. I would not be attempting to clear Dodonpachi if I didn't have save states. I would be here until the end of time. It would not be fun.
But this game doesn't. At least
no, it doesn't.
Well, I think you can just somehow get the ROM and then use save states. But I think it should be in the game, at least in this sort of stage select form. Just one of these things.
I think that's the thing that James pulled out in his commentary as well. And I think what they want you to do is they want you to collect the passwords, because that's what we used to do in the old days, and use that as your practice. But it just seems it's actually I'm going to row back on. I don't really have any criticisms. That's one straight up criticism. I do think that's not necessarily obtuse. I think unlock the stages as you go, fine, but once you've got them, allow the player to practice. I think that's a norm now, and I don't think we want to go back from that. I agree.
Because how do those passwords work? Because I got them when I got game over, but then you can use the password to use it. I think you can just use your sub weapon coming into the next or in the first level. I for example, I beat the easy mode, and then I got the password, and I could use that password to get all my upgrades for a new run in normal mode. But I
got the same in normal.
But I couldn't go to another level, so I just started from the first level, even.
I think earlier passwords. Let's say you die on stage 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think what would happen is you would restart that stage. I actually didn't try it. I think what happens is you restart.
That is how
it
works.
Stage. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So you'd get a different password if you died on level 3, like he was saying. Then it would give you password to start again, start back on level 3, and you do keep all of your upgrades.
Oh, okay. So in a way, that's a sort of, you could use that as a practice mode.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that, but yeah, you have to sort of collect them and write them down.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest way to do this stuff, but yeah, just.
I guess they want you to have to kind of get to the level first before you can practice it, I guess is the idea. And they're probably not manufacturing cartridges with a battery pack, so you can actually save it on your cartridge. So yeah, I guess that's probably why. But yeah, I mean, to me, it wasn't a big deal because, as we kind of established, it's not an incredibly difficult game anyways. But certainly there's not really a good reason to not just throw that in there, just throw a level select.
But there's like 5 difficulty modes or something, 4. So
I think 4, yeah.
I think if you want to train on the higher difficulties, that can be very annoying if you have to play the first level.
There's 4: easy, normal, hard, and hot shot. I think.
Yeah.
So you can spend a lot of time in this game if you want to. So. I think we have to wrap it up and we can go to final thoughts. Any final thoughts on the game, Mr. Sparkle?
From just.
He's away again.
I'll toss in some final thoughts. Well, here it comes. All right.
We lost you on your final thoughts. Are you back again? Anyway, maybe
let me move. Okay, give me a sec. I'll move.
he moves to a better Wi-Fi spot. Maybe Rob, you can.
Is that any better?
I think so.
Hold on, I think he's good.
Yeah, there we go. So
There we go.
yeah, just I thought it was I thought it was a great. I mean, who thought we were going to get the Streets of Rage 2 developer was going to give us this in 2025 to this level of quality? And if it becomes commercially viable, and they get the freedom of creativity that they seem to have had with this, without kind of major studio interference, and they stay in that niche, I mean, I'm all for it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think there's like only 2 persons credited, apart from some minor things. I think even Joe Redifier I saw his name for the voices, I think, from GameSec. He did voices, but I think only Yuzo Koshiro and Makoto Wada really worked on this game. So yeah, very small team. Yeah, if they can make more of this, or maybe another genre, maybe a new Street of Rage kind of game, it would be amazing. Yeah. So, and Rob, any thoughts?
I think once again, I think Sparkle summed it up very well. 4 out of 5 stars overall, 5 out of 5 for presentation. Still amazing that they were able to put this on a Genesis cartridge. One final thought is kind of minor thing that we haven't mentioned that I do want to point out, because I really like this, is the scratchy Genesis voice that you get occasionally throughout a run that yells out the names of sub-weapons that you pick up, and occasionally gives advice like, aim for the weak spot. Just like that one.
Or
that one always cracked.
Keep it up.
Yeah, that cracked me up, because it's so, it's so reminiscent of of course it sounds just the same as Genesis games do, because it is a Genesis game, but just like the kind of funny advice, like, there's no reason for it to yell out the names of weapons, but it's just kind of a funny little, almost kind of corny touch, but I really liked it. I thought that was
all those
nice
little flourishes in this game.
Yeah,
really, really polished. You won't say it's only 2 persons who made it.
Right.
Yeah, for me, the final thought is, if this wasn't a Genesis game, I think it was still a very good game, and it still looks great, even in this day and age. If it didn't run on Genesis, I maybe would have picked it up as well, and I would have liked it as much. So it's not only for the show that I really like this. It's just a very good game. So yeah, I think I would urge everyone to get the Steam version, and if you like it, maybe get the physical later. But I would urge everyone just to play this and maybe extract the ROM. So, yeah, very recommended. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being on the show.
Thank you.
I really loved talking about this one, and I like that you also really love this genre. So, yeah, thank you for coming. And
yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, I also want to shout out Andy and Diego, and also Retro Games Mania, who does all the videos on YouTube for us. Where can we find you on the internet, Rob?
You can find me a couple places. My newer it's about a year old now, but my newer project is Boxography. That's at youtube.com/@Boxography with the actual @ symbol, not the word. That's where I'm a complete in-box game collector, mostly retro games, and that's where I kind of show off old retro games that have something really cool about the box. There's a lot of PC stuff on there, but not. I mean, I have something from just about every console I own up on that channel at this point. Just kind of focusing really cool complete in-box packages that have maybe cool maps or posters or whatever it may be. My other One that I've been doing a lot longer than that is the Classic Gaming Podcast. You can find that at classicgamingpodcast.com or just search for it on podcast platforms. That's it's exactly what it sounds like. Me and my co-host Jay, we try to put an episode out every 3 weeks. Every once in a while, we have to push it back to 4 weeks, but we just talk about old retro games.
Nice.
So check it out.
And Mr. Sparkle, do you have any online presence?
I don't have any podcasts or blogs. I'm not on the internet. I don't exist. I just hang out in Discords. If I may, I might just flag a couple of resources for people who, if they're interested in exploring the genre, might find interesting. So one of them is, so in no particular order, the Shmup Wiki. If you just Google Shmup Wiki, is a really good resource, and the System 11 Shmup forums are also a really good resource for. Sometimes these older games don't tell you everything you need to know about their mechanics and what's going on. There's always really good advice there to be found. In terms of the community, one thing I've found about playing shooting games is there's a really decent community around it. There's multiple different forums and Discords out there. The one I'm in, and I know cut that out because I was just about to say, can we cut this bit out? I was about to say Rob is in there, but then I give away your real name and you're in that Discord, so I'll edit that bit out.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so we're in a Discord called the Shmup Junkie Discord, which is the one I sort of alluded to earlier, which did the Sega Saturn videos. That's a really good community that's really supportive of people who are just kind of dipping their toe into the genre. They have put together a curated list of shmups that are suitable for beginners of different styles, different levels of difficulty. That's been useful, I know, to a few people. Mentioned, if you want to see high level play, Jamers is good. There's a range of other high level players in Europe, Japan, the US. Juju Kenobi's another one who's also on Twitch. And I guess, yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me.
If you share those resources, then I'll try to get it into the show notes and the YouTube description. Okay, well, thanks again. If the listeners like this episode on YouTube, please vote up. Give us a 5-star rating in your podcast app. And please tell a friend about our show if you like it. And don't forget to join our Patreon and our Discord. Everything can be found on newgameoldflame.com. And that's it for now. See ya. Bye.